Hello, that's a book review. Interesting ideas, takeaways, favorite, not quotes, but things that I found interesting in this book, Atomic Habits. You also write here, tiny changes, remarkable results. That's the idea of atomic. Really, I didn't really found that much connection with atomic, so he talks a little bit about it, but yeah, it just sounds better. That's a very good name for a book. Maybe this is one of the reasons I read that book, because Atomic Habits, that sounds like a cool idea. Not much about, not that transformational, I would say. So the name is better than the actual book. So we'll start with our quick review. I'll probably give this book 3 stars. Nothing too crazy. Nothing that throw you out of your chair or out of the whack. Nothing crazy. There is a lot of too much self-help. So it's, of course, it's a self-help, but it's trying too much. I wrote some things, some more in the notes, some more things that I didn't like about the book, and some things that I did like about the book. So we'll discuss this later in the notes. And in general, his ideas are too far-fetched, which means they're too hard to imply in your life. Too many systems, too many details. It's like, what do you need to do in your life? Like 6 things. I'm not gonna remember that. Everything that going through steps and you keep repeating those steps, it's like it's destined to fail. So that's my main idea. Other than that, it's pretty fun to go through. Short episodes. There is summaries. I'll speak more about it, but that's the main idea. So probably 3 stars, and that's like, even if I give it, I thought even give it 2 stars. That's where it stands. So let's see the notes. Starting with a side note here, many of the ideas in this book are too rigorous to implement, too invasive, and too many details which are hard to remember. This is what I spoke a little bit in the introduction. So too hard, too rigorous, you need to go through those steps. Too invasive, which means there's like too much, too invasive in your life, and there is too many details. So good luck with that. It's not, in other words, it's not realistic. Both good and bad, small movements will eventually get bigger. If a plane starts its trajectory a few degrees wrong, he will get to a totally different place. It actually happened a few days in the news. Well, probably when I upload this, it'll probably be like a few weeks. EasyJet, I think, they started in some trajectory. They started their trajectory on the wrong path. So even a small difference, just like a few degrees, will end you all other, and like your destination will be totally different. Goals versus systems. Systems is the way to reach the goal, and often is more important than the goal itself. So I really like this distinction between goals and systems. So systems is the way to reach your goal. How do you get there? You have to have a system. Atomic habits refer to small increments, small changes. That's the idea of atomic habits. You try every time you're doing a little bit. This is probably what he's referring to atomic in this book. Your identity is your repetitive beingness of the things you just do and reinforce and so on. I like this. So your identity, this is what you are, is the repetitive beingness. It's like what you keep doing. This is hence your habits. So you just keep doing and reinforcing, and it's like it's a loop. So you do, redo, which reinforce, and so on. Side note, I really like the chapter summaries. That's a side note. So in each episode, he has a little summary at the end, what he was speaking about, or what he's writing about. Really important, and it's really helpful to have. The more habits we have, the more automatic, I guess it should be automatic, which leaves more space for freedom and creativity. So if you have more habits, we become automatic. So we have more things, more time to do other things, and for creativity. So that's the benefits of having more habits. I like this idea that it's free your time if you're automating things, just like automation in general. Cue, craving, response, reward. Those are the 4 steps to form a habit. So cue, this is what it triggers. Then you have craving, and then something triggers and you have like, oh, I want this. That's the craving. Response, this is what you do. And then you have the reward that rewards you on the response. So that's the 4 steps. So if you remember that, there's other books I read like Power of Habit, same ideas, different names. But it's good to wrap your hand around how habits forms. Today, unlike back in the days, we have secondary cues rather than cues. Things such as sex versus money, which might lead to sex. We have secondary. It's not direct cues. We have secondary cues. So money, unlike sex, is a secondary because it doesn't give you sex. It's a mean to get sex. Usually we just had, back in the days, we had sex right in front. But we have money, which lead to sex, so it's a secondary cue. After our reward is attached and reinforced, a cue will mean that reward, hence coffee in the morning. So after the reward is being attached and we already got into our system, a cue will mean that reward. Only then the cue will mean. So we wake up in the morning, that's the cue, and after it's attached to coffee, you want coffee right away. Habit stacking refers to connecting a habit to already existing habit. For example, after lunch, I'll do push-ups. That's the idea of habit stacking. I think it's his own idea. It's connecting habits to something that you already do. So for one example he gives is, after lunch, we'll eat lunch. After lunch, we'll do push-ups. So this is like an easy way to remember. We call it habit stacking. It's easy to form a new habit in a new environment rather than an environment with competing cues. I like this idea of competing cues. Sometimes it's really hard because, let's say you're with your old friends, sometimes older habits kicks in. So in the new environment, it's easier to form habits because you don't have any, but older environments or environments with competing cues. I like competing cues. Junk food and hard liquor is considered a supernatural stimuli, as it was not available back in the days. That's the idea of supernatural stimuli, like junk food. It's your systems, your stimuli, these get overwhelmed, and this was not available back in the days, so that's considered, again, supernatural stimuli. We mostly prefer to be accepted in a group. We mostly prefer to be accepted in a group than being right. That's the idea of sometimes we are a social animal, so we prefer just to blend in, be acceptable than being right. There's a lot of studies in many books all over the place, a lot of studies that shows that idea. There's even a number here, so that's like I guess selected more. We have to build a habit. We need to ask ourselves how many, not how long. So the idea is of a habit is just sometimes we saying to ourselves or to other people how long to form a habit or to build a habit, a new one. But that's the wrong question. The question should be how many times, because it's all about repetition, reinforcement. In physics, the law of least distance means that between 2 points, the energy will direct itself where it's the shortest. Same with humans, we try to do things the easy way. That's the idea of the law of least distance. I hope I wrote it correctly. So between 2 points, energy will go where it's the easiest. This is also why, by the way, this is not in the book, but this is also why birds are not getting electrocuted, because it's just easier to that There is more. This is not the only reasons, but this is one of the main reasons. Just easier for the electricity to go through the line instead of going through the bird. So the same idea is the same with humans. We try to do things the easy way. We're lazy. The easy way, not lazy, but we try to conserve energy. So we do things in the easy way. This is, you can look at that in some way of law of least distance. It's kind of the same. Side note, many tricks the author offers are good on paper, but only a fool can implement. So that's like hard words here we have. So many of the tricks that he offers to how to combat all kinds of problems, all kinds of bad habits are hard. Like I think, for example, is like if you only, it depends, like positive thinking, for example. It's like I don't have like a direct explanation, but I think it's some of them is like those positive reappraisals or something like that. But there's more. That's not the only one, and I think that's some of them only a fool can implement, because you need to be stupid to believe in some of them. And if you are, good luck with that. Removing obstacle is a better strategy than enforcing something. That's the idea of removing obstacles. He's talking a little bit just like briefly in the book, but the idea is bigger. That it's removing something that stands in your way is a better strategy than enforcing something. Going through and try hard to do it. Sometimes it's easier to understand what's prevent you from keep doing this. One of the reasons toothpaste is usually tastes like mint or cinnamon is not because it makes your mouth cleaner, rather it's because you feel more refreshed after using it. I was like, I didn't know that. So usually I thought it has something, it helps you in some way to clean your mouth, but this is just a feeling to let you know that your mouth is clean, and just a feeling. But the cleaning itself makes the chemicals, not the mint or the cinnamon. We live in a world of delayed gratification. There is a saying, the last mile is the least crowded. So I like this. The last mile is the least crowded. This is like, no one survives. Not no one, but less and less people survive. You can look about it like you can look at it similarly to a bell curve. So that's the tail, the right end of the tail is also less crowded. Less people are in there. So the more you have, the more you can delay gratification, the longer you can go in some way, and there is less people. We care more about making 10,000 steps than being healthy. That's a good idea. Some people just like, I just want to make that 10,000 steps, but the idea is not to make 10,000 steps. The idea is to be healthy. You can be healthy even if you don't do 10,000 steps. You can do other things, and sometimes you can make those 10,000 steps in the wrong way that is unhealthy for you. It's a broader idea, not narrow, but sometimes people take it as a narrow idea. The work made for us is the work that you suffer the least comparing to others. That's a good one. So it's always a question, what do we want to do? What do we want to do in life? So the best work for us is the work that you suffer the least compared to others, because you will be able to do it for longer. You have more energy to go through, because it's hard for everyone. But if you like it, you will go through. You will you have what you might call it, resiliency. Maybe resiliency is the right word to use. I think that's the last one. One of the ways to stick to a habit is to understand that boredom is part of the game. So boredom sometimes is like you form a new habit. Sometimes it's not. It's that every time. It's like the keep doing that habit is the problem. Doing that every once in a while, only when you want to, that's easy. That's everyone can do. But the problem is the boredom, because after a little while, it's just like, I don't want to do this anymore. Fuck this. But if you keep doing, if you transcend this, that's when you form a habit or a new habit. So that's here for notes. Again, this book is like probably 3. I just, when I go through those notes, I see there is some good ideas, but again, this is only what I wrote. There is some very annoying parts, and again, all what I said in the notes and before, I was a little disappointed, to be honest. But overall, again, probably 3, and thank you.